Prepare to arrive at destination on the right in 800 meters. At 300 meters, you will arrive at your destination on the right. You have reached your destination on the right.
Yes, folks, it's that time of year when I get my birthday books. My wish list keeps getting longer and longer, but it's a nice excuse to be able to get some. I mean, the old girl's getting on, so one can I'm too busy looking at the pictures to actually think what I'm saying. But yes, I'm at the age now I cannot indulge myself. Having said that, I've got at least 12 books on the shelf, not necessarily garden books, in fact they're not. There's a good dozen that I'm waiting to read. but very happy with this one. It's always nice to be able to flick through gardens, and one can usually find some little corner that gives you some inspiration. I was introduced to Mary Newcombe via Ronald Bly, who's famous for the book Aikenfield in 1969. Ronald turned 100 on the 6th of November, so I wish him well for a few more years. I've really enjoyed his writings, even though I don't relate to a good half of it. It's very Anglican and etc., etc. But I love his writings and his observations on nature as well. But he chose Mary Newcombe's drawings to illustrate his book. I'm not doing this very well. His book Borderland. And I believe Mary's artwork is in the permanent collection in the Tate Gallery. But this is an interesting book, and her interpretation of the world around her, as it says, observations from nature. So I like her little sketches. I shouldn't say little sketches, she's ended up in the Tate Gallery. But she has an interesting way of working. So there we have it. Mary Newcombe drawings from observation. Yeah, this is another one that I have been waiting to find an excuse to buy. Oops, I'm getting a lot of light through the windows. But this should be an interesting read just for the terrain, etc. And I must say, I do like the Mediterranean gardens. One of my favourites, of course, is the olive and the lavender. Lots of other things too, of course. But and of course, Olivier Philippe, that is how you say his name, is very respected in the gardening world. So happy with this as well. As I say, get any excuse, in my case old age, rampaging, is an excuse to indulge oneself. Oops. So this is another one that should actually prove helpful, as I am hoping in the next garden, if I'm lucky enough to get a next garden, I will want to try and set up a dedicated cutting garden. So this may prove helpful. Mind you, I've got lots of how to do stuff. I've got Sarah Raven's cutting garden as well from years ago But you can never have too many gardening books, in my opinion. Although recently I'm not really into the how-to. I've got tons of those books. I just like garden-related books, whether that's special gardens or stories behind gardens, etc. But this should be quite helpful. So another one that I'm very happy with. If nothing else, so my gardening books will hopefully comfort me when I'm past gardening, but hopefully not in aged care. So they are a buffer for the future, hopefully. And last but not least is The Flower Garden by Arthur Parkinson. I already have his book, The Pottery Gardener. His books are lovely, and this one is perhaps a contingency plan if and when we downsize and I find myself with a tiny courtyard. And but this is a gorgeous book. Whoops. I really enjoyed The Pottery Gardener, his previous book. But as I said, if and when I find myself with a small courtyard, hopefully I can get some inspiration from Arthur. But it is a beautiful book, as was his other one. I'd better hide all these books if and when I ever get visitors. They'll wonder what on earth I've learned from all the books I have. Very little, I have to say, but I do like them. And as I said, hopefully it'll see me through my aged years. So there you have it, The Flower Yard.